wanted to know if we'll have a recording. So
Yeah.
yes, the answer is yes, but about 5 minutes missing. Okay, perfect.
But that'll be in your ebook, Kyla. That teaching. Okay. So how's that feel to you guys? It was amazing. You know, I only did it once, but going into the holidays, that was a huge exercise. Kyla loved it. Good, good. Good, good. Okay. So how are we on time? See, my timer went off.
Been on
Good.
25 minutes.
Good, good. When you tell me when I get to 7:25. Okay, the next little lesson is about being highly sensitive. Did you guys know? Is your hand still up, Melissa? You can just shake your head, yes or no. Did you guys know that 20% of Americans are highly sensitive? I never really knew that, and I studied with a lady about 5 years ago, and she was what she called a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And I believe that there's 20% of us that are super highly sensitive. And I want you guys to go someplace with me right now in your mind. I want you to go back to when you were a child, maybe 3 or 4, and I want you to see yourself as the little person looking up. And if you will, just look up, and what I want you to visualize are your parents. And everything that we take in and everything that we learn from that age, we are learning how to be and do and have. But we're learning from our parents. And where did they learn? From their parents. And a lot of that can be taught in the form of what I call and what I understand is domestication. You know, we get these, it starts, I explained it in my 360 program, is it starts at age 2 with probably no, 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 you can't go in there. No, you can't touch that. And it's not intentional. It just happens. And it happens that we get all of the stuff and things just from looking up and following them around and seeing things as they see them. And, you know, I can visualize how my dad was with my mother as a partnership. Still affects me today, right? You guys think about that stuff and jot it down and take note of it, because I'm a completely different person than I was when I left the home, right? There was prejudice in my home. There was all kinds of things that I won't have anything to do with today, right? So you can change that. But when we go home for Thanksgiving and when we go home for Christmas, that's when that starts crowding in on us again. Drop your email in this chat. Good, good. So the next thing, the next level I wanted to take you to in that process of teaching, loud clicking, that's probably my mic, is headed into 10, 11, and 12 years old. That I teach in my 360 program as the bird's nest. The reason we start feeling resistance in the bird's nest part of life, that teenager and puberty part of life, is the teenager is on the edge of the nest flapping the wings. They're like, I'm gonna fly. And you got the parent back here going, no, 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 you can't do that yet. No, you cannot date. No, you can't get on social media. No, no, you can't have a phone. No, no, no. And then the teenager's like, I got to fly. I'm practicing flapping my wings. And the teenager's actually turning around looking, going, Mama, Daddy, I got to fly. And that's what starts all that resistance. So I want you guys to know, to see that for what it is. Hindsight is 20/20, right? I had no idea that those kids were pulling against me and doing that with me, and that I was trying to control that rather than understand that. And then the other story that I wanted to tell you was, little things like this happen, and I want you to think about it and acknowledge it, and don't get all up in and go to the scene of the accident and make it all dramatic. Just write it down. I can tell you for sure that at 10 years old, I could separate my parents from fighting by screaming, "Stop it. Stop." And they would stop. I'm telling you what, that's a powerful way to feel. And I don't remember consciously thinking that at the time, like, damn, I got all the power here. But it felt powerful, right? That's a form of communication, that I carried into adulthood. I didn't know that when I was 25, that I learned that there. I had no idea until you dig in and pull all these things out, and all of a sudden you have these aha moments. It's like, damn. And so that for me as an adult turned into rage, right? And I'm so glad, because I don't know that I would have met my higher power had it not, right? So I'll tell you a little story. I was dating someone. I went to a house party. Yes? Go ahead.
You're at 8:25, so we've been on 30 minutes. So
7:25. Okay.
oh, yep, 7:25.
Really, really quick. I was dating someone, went to a house party. They were treating me like crap, and I was getting ready to have me one of those fits. Does anybody have ugly fits? Or did you ever have those ugly fits where you were more embarrassed the next day about the ugly fit than the actual incident? And I went upstairs and found a walk-in closet and shut the door and got on my knees. And I stayed there. And what I said was, they told me, and they were my spiritual circle, they told me that if I ask you, God, that you would help me. And I stayed there until I found relief. I walked downstairs and was able to say bye to everybody, went to my car, took a hold of the steering wheel, and I knew for sure I had a God. That's a spiritual awakening, when you know that you know that you know. And I never stopped talking to God. It only grew. I talked to God before I got on here. I talked to God before I get on coaching calls. I talk to God before I write marketing material, all the things. My God, the God of my understanding, is involved. Okay, so you're probably highly sensitive, and I want you to acknowledge that for yourself. And it means, this is what it means: you're intuitive, creative, an excellent listener, a deep thinker, deeply, deeply spiritual probably, a visionary, exceptional teacher, deep belief in justice and fairness, detail-oriented, and empathetic. Now, get with someone, a coach, a spiritual circle, something that guides you through how to handle the emotional ups and downs that causes the anxiety and the body to run internally as if it's fighting a tiger. Because if you do that for 10 years and 20 years, body parts wear out. Then we end up with high blood pressure. There's nothing wrong with high blood pressure. It's the body doing the right thing, but at the wrong time. The right thing is fighting the tiger and running as fast as you can. That's the right thing. But while you're laying on the couch watching The Voice, wrong timing. So you got to get rid of those things that cause you that internal overrunning of the body. This is really powerful. It's called Soul to Soul. I don't know if you've done soul work, but there's a book, and I put it in the reference, Meet Your Soul by Elisa Romero. Changed my life. My soul always hid. The only people that got to see my soul were 3 girlfriends when we went to have 2 beers. They got to see my soul. My soul is quite naughty, loves to cut up, is fun and funny, but I never would let anyone else really see that, right? So I got to know my soul, and then I got to know that my soul could speak to your soul. So if you have people that are triggers for you and hard for you, and exes, and even your partner while they're sitting on the couch can trigger you if you allow it. But for 14 days, if you go off in the bedroom or wake up in the morning and write to that person that you want to heal, the soul to soul letters are profound. You do it for 14 days. Dear soul of so-and-so, I'm writing to you today from my soul. I want you to know this. I want you to know that. I want you to see this. I want you to hear this. I want you to, whatever it is you're wanting, whatever it is you see in them, really focus on their core essence. And I explain to my students in my coaching programs, core essence to me is a mother's verbiage. A mother can pick on a child, but you pick on their child, you know what I'm talking about. Mothers love unconditionally. So when you're thinking about someone, think of them as their mother would think of them, and you'll be able to hone in more on their core essence. Next tool, this is called Cancel That Thought. And yes, it does come from a Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono or something like that. You guys know that prayer. I changed it for me. I carried it in my pocket. I changed it and I carried it in my pocket until I had it memorized. This is when I first started working on my negative thoughts. It's simple. Cancel that thought. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. And then replace the thought. So I'd be driving down the road, think of something shitty. I'd say, cancel that thought. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. Replace it with the thought that you are intending. With me? Simple, but it needs to be all the time. And I bet it took 2 years before I could flip some of the negative thinking that I would have automatically. I'm going to tell you guys too, this is kind of strong language. Remember, I preface this with the work that I do. I am a specialist in trauma recovery. I get in, dig in, and we nail some shit when I get on the phone with you. This is how I phrase what goes on within that head. I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. And if anything's ever happened into your life, I'm going to use an example that happened to me. I had a boss like 20 years ago said, Theresa, you can't write. Well, I know my shit needs to be proved. I'm cool with that. But for him to say I can't write hurt my feelers at the time. I've had 40 people since then say, I love the way you write, Theresa. But guess what? The itty bitty shitty committee says, hey, 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 you remember? You remember? That guy told you you can't write. And it stops me in my tracks, or it used to. You with me? Thank you. We're almost done here. We are done. The itty bitty shitty committee will take you out of the game. I had a gal that I'm working with, and I start with that pissed offness list. She wrote me the other day, she's working on her pissed offness list. Oh, I got a headache. This is what I do to you when you get on coaching calls with me too. Oh, I got a headache. I just wrote her back and said, itty bitty shitty committee. I didn't ask you to return to the scene of the accident and write that shit down. In other words, all the drama and the trauma. You think of it, you write it down, you move on. Don't let the itty bitty shitty committee take you out of the game. I am done, and we are open for Q&A. I would love to hear from you. Just unmute yourself, ask your question or make your comment, and then you'll mute yourself back so we don't have side noise. And I'm going to turn the recording off because we don't want to record our Q&A. It's private. Recording stopped. Yes.